Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today's question comes from Dave Nauman, KF0HPR. He says, what sort of adverse effect will result if I tie wrap 20 feet of my feed line between my shack and dipole antenna to a chain link fence? Well, the key thing you didn't tell me was what type of feed line. And the answer depends very much on the type of feed line. If it's coaxial cable, okay, it's got a center conductor, comes out, okay. If it's coax, like this, so good grades of coax would be RG8X, which is made by a lot of people. RG213 made by a lot of people, LMR240, which is the same size as 8X, made by Times Microwave. And make sure you get the Times Microwave cable, because there are cheap imitations of this and they don't always work well. And LMR400 is considered primo cable. These are coaxial cables. Okay, if you want to tie wrap that to the top rail or whatever of your chain link fence, go right ahead. It won't affect a thing. Okay, I'd put a ballon at the end of this, so you've got your coax to a ballon and then your dipole off like that. Okay, now entirely different answer if you're using balanced line. If you're using line like window line that looks sort of like this, okay, this is 450 ohm window line, or you can be using something bigger that's got plastic. This is all truly open in here. This is a 600 ohm open wire line, or you can use something that's a little thinner that's twin lead, and that has 300 ohms. Okay, now the advantage of using these so-called open wire lines is that, or parallel wire lines, is that they're very low loss. The problem is, however, in where the electric field is. If we're looking down the end of the coax, okay, there's the center conductor. The electric field, we'll do orange electric fields today. The orange electric field is entirely within the cable. So what happens out here doesn't matter. You can tie wrap that to your chain link fence all you want. However, open wire line, let's look down the ends of the open wire line. Okay, the actual characteristic impedance is determined by this diameter and this distance. Okay, now where's the electric field? The pointing vector is right in the middle. This is where the energy actually travels, and it surrounds this thing. You're going to get most of it in the middle here, but you're going to get some around the outsides. Now you can see what happens if you connect this to a fence or something like that. The fence, the chain link fence, the metal, is becoming part of the transmission line and will throw everything in the ditch, okay? You don't want to do this. What you can do, and you can buy these, are standoff insulators that have a big loop at the end with a slot cut in it, with plastic in the middle here. And this is often threaded, so you can put it in a tree or piece of wood or whatever, or you can clamp it to something that gives you some distance, like 5 to 6 inches between anything here, so that your electric field stays up here and isn't affected so much by the chain link fence, okay? So, answer number 1, if you're attaching coax, have at it. If you're attaching window line, no, don't do it. You have to separate it somehow so that the window line doesn't cause a problem. Now, if you have extra coax, because often people buy a piece of coax that's a fixed length, and they'll buy more than they need, which is wise. You can just coil up the extra coax wherever it's convenient. With latterline, not so much. You can't coil it because you're creating an inductor that's going to radically affect your SWR. You have to sort of lay it down in a kind of a random pattern and try and keep it away from itself so it doesn't create inductance in there. So I think that answers your question. I suspect you have coax. If you have coax, then you can put the feed line along a chain link fence without a problem. Don't put the antenna along the chain link fence. Get the antenna up in the air. Remember rule number 2 of antennas, height matters. And rule number 1 of antennas, everything affects everything. So there you go, Dave. I hope that answers your question and gives you some valuable information. If anyone out there would like to help this channel financially, you may do so by going to dcasler.com/support and finding a way that works for you. Don't forget that we have a monthly giveaway. Go to dcasler.com/giveaway to find out more about that and how it works. It really is free. And except if you live overseas and you win the giveaway, I would ask you to pay the postage because that can be pretty hefty overseas. If it's in the U.S., I'll pay the postage. And subscribe, click like, comment, and until we next meet, 73.